The extreme heat apocalypse has arrived. Mom and I are singing in our climate-controlled villa, laughing as my scumbag dad's family gets their karma. My dad, a live-in son-in-law, suddenly brought his parents and his mistress into our home. He also brought an 8-year-old boy. Grandma said he was the true heir to their bloodline, and called me a jinx. Mom cried and lunged forward to fight him. But Grandma poured a bucket of gasoline on her. Grandpa set her on fire, saying that as long as my mom was dead, this house would belong to my dad. Crying, I rushed over to save my mom. But Grandma poured gasoline on me too. She said I was an ungrateful wretch, so I might as well die with my mom. It hurts so much. I woke up, screaming from the nightmare. Meme. Mom rushed into the room. She was also covered in sweat. We both had the exact same nightmare. That wasn't a nightmare. We have been reborn. I clenched my fists. This time, it's our turn to fight back. They want to steal our wealth. In their dreams. Mom hugged me tightly, crying uncontrollably. She felt so guilty for giving me a father like that. I could only comfort her. Without him, I wouldn't be here. So we still came out winning. The top priority now is to hoard supplies. This time, we are going to hide and watch them tear each other apart. There's half a month left before the extreme heat hits. In our past life, we went to the summer resort 10 days later. Right now, we are still at home. I need to go to the company. Mom still has to go to her square dancing class. My dad leaves early and comes home late. In my past life, I'm busy with no premier que no. He is busy raising his mistress's son. I hired a private investigator to look into him. Meanwhile, I contacted a real estate agent and sold the villa in the summer resort at a discounted price, leaving my dad no chance to stay there. Anyway, it's all my mom's premarital property. It only has my mom's name on it. Even if it's sold, my dad won't know. Then I contacted a seller who wanted to sell an orchard. I bought his orchard outright with cash. The location of the orchard is perfect. It's right at the peak of the summer resort. Arrondit, apart from the original owner's 200 square meter, 3-story house. There are no other houses around. In my past life. On our second day at the summer resort, Mom and I went there to play. At that time, my mom even sighed, saying she'd like to live in a place like this when she gets old. Planting fruit, trees, and flowers. Lying on a rocking chair watching the sunset. I said that would be great. Once the company stabilizes, I will accompany you here for your retirement. The original owner happened to hear me say this and asked if I wanted to buy it, saying he would sell it cheap, and gave me his phone number. The last digits were a 6 and 39 south, so I remembered it very clearly. Although there's still half a month before the heat wave, Mom was anxious to go over and build the wall. After all, the scariest thing in the apocalypse is heartless people like my dad. On my end, I rushed to handle the company's affairs. After finishing, I left straight away with my suitcase. I took the property deeds before I left, and gave away all the meat, vegetables, drinks, and food in the fridge to others. I believe my dad won't notice. My mom hasn't been home for 3 days. and he didn't even notice when I arrived at the orchard. Mom was wearing a hard hat, supervising the work. A 3-meter-high wall had already been built. On top of it, not only were there iron nails and broken glass, but it was also equipped with an electric grid. It could easily send anyone forcing their way into hell. Mom, you're working really fast. I was genuinely surprised. It's only been 3 days. I thought it would take at least 5 to 10 days. I hired 3 construction teams to work in shifts. All the wall tiles in the house have been knocked off and replaced with thermal insulation materials, and those window glasses have all been changed to bulletproof glass. We also have to apply heat insulation film inside and out. Otherwise, they'll explode when the high temperatures hit. I also ordered solar panels and batteries. These past few days, Mom probably didn't sleep much. Her eyes were red. I told her to go sleep. I would keep an eye on things here. May, whenever I close my eyes, I think of that nightmare. I just can't fall asleep. Let me do this. Staring at this makes me feel at ease. My heart ached for her. I hugged my mom tightly. Don't worry, they will get their karma. The private investigator sent me the report. My dad actually kept his mistress in our neighborhood. The villa was also rented under his name. What's worse, my grandparents also live there. They are living a happy life, acting as parasites, sucking my mom's blood. Yet, still not satisfied, the investigator sent an audio recording. They were actually discussing how to kill my mom to obtain the property under her name. I gritted my teeth in anger. So that's how it is, huh? Fine, just you wait. 18 days until the extreme heat arrives. The wine cellar dug inside the house by the crew is ready. It has a climate control system, as long as there is electricity. No matter how hot it gets outside, the cellar can be kept around 20 degrees. Mom said this is for saving our lives. Just in case the temperature keeps rising and things like air conditioners fail. We can hide in the wine cellar. This reminded me to immediately order 10 portable air conditioners. Just in case we really have no AC to use. 10 days until the extreme heat arrives. My dad called my mom, asking where she went and why there was no food left in the fridge. I opened our home security cameras. My dad was standing by the fridge on the phone. Grandma was rummaging through the cabinets, cursing and complaining. Not even a bag of rice is left. How would I know? If there isn't any, go buy some. I'm busy. I have to go. Mom hung up the phone directly. Her face looked grim, and her tone was very fierce. My dad was dumbfounded. After all, Mom had never been this fierce to him. He started complaining about her attitude, saying he'd kill her sooner or later. He even called me. I didn't bother talking to him. Directly hung up and blocked him. Let him keep barking. Tommy surprise, Shark von ins pot. The accountant called me right away, saying my dad asked him to transfer 100,000 yuan, so he blocked him. Elle rédige pocket money. And still wants another 100,000. If I hadn't already given him the 50,000 earlier, I wouldn't give him a single dime. Mom's phone rang again. Just as I thought. After being blocked by the accountant, he remembered to ask my mom for money. What? You can't even afford to eat anymore? Coming to me for money. Mom's tone was aggressive. Dad suddenly panicked. Oh no. Is there some kind of misunderstanding? Humph, Mom sneered. Her voice cold. You're keeping a mistress outside with an 8-year-old son. You thought you hid it well, didn't you? Let me tell you, Malbufen. Not only will I leave you with absolutely nothing, I will also get back every single penny you spent on them. Mom was getting overly emotional. I quickly patted her back to soothe her and hung up the phone for her. There's no need to get so angry. They will definitely get what they deserve anyway. Of course, they will get their karma. If God won't punish them, He will. Meme, do you know why they wanted to kill us? Because your dad signed a prenuptial agreement. And we did a premarital property notarization. All these years, your dad has never worked. I have provided for him completely. If we divorce, he will be left with nothing. Mom couldn't control her emotions. Tears rolling down her face one by one. I really regret not listening to your grandpa. He told me Malbufen was no good. And told me to be on my guard. Why didn't I listen? Mom, Grandpa is watching over us from heaven. Otherwise, how could we have been reborn? I miss Grandpa too. That old man who looked cold, but was warm-hearted. He always told me girls should act like girls. To not speak while eating or sleeping. To follow the rules. Yet, he was willing to get on the floor and let me ride his back like a horse. Yes, your grandpa must be watching us. So, we have to live well and show him. Mom finally calmed down and went back to supervising the work. I opened the security cameras and found my dad and the others in their living room having a meeting, discussing how to deal with me and me mom. It all boiled down to killing us before the divorce. Grandma looked sinister. Oh wabu. I do the deed. I'm already this old anyway. It would be worth it. I couldn't help but feel a wave of disgust. They were exactly like in our past life. Deciding that Grandma would commit the murder, while Grandpa assisted. Pour gasoline first, then light the fire. Neither Mom nor I could escape. On l'estime. They won't be able to find us. Mi dad tried to find out where I was on a business trip through my colleagues. But how could they know? My mom's lips were even tighter. Erfri didn't even know she was getting a divorce. My dad asked around but found nothing. His face grew darker and darker. His lips twitching, looking as terrifying as a ghost crawling out of hell. Maime, come see how this cold storage looks. Mom was calling me. I quickly closed the monitor and ran over. The cold storage was rebuilt from an existing cellar. Now that the cooling units were on, it was freezing cold. People couldn't even stand it for long. It's 75 square meters, definitely enough for us. Mom, this is amazing. With the cold storage finished, the renovation of the whole house is pretty much done. I left the finishing touches to Mom. I went to Hoard supplies. Before leaving, Mom handed me a shopping list. I took a glance at it on the road. It had 200 boxes of each. Soybean oil, peanut oil, and all sorts of canned food. That can last for 20 years without spoiling. Everything was on there, as expected of my mom. I really hadn't thought that thoroughly. But I had prepared to. I downloaded a doomsday supply list from the internet. Besides these basic necessities and daily items, there are also necessary antibiotics, vitamins, and other medicines, various vegetable seeds. I had Mom set up a fish pond on the first floor to raise some resilient fish, like tilapia. If the high temperatures persist, we can still have fresh fish to eat. I didn't buy supplies in our county town. That would attract too much attention. Instead, I spent driving to the provincial capital and rented a 20-ton truck. Then went straight to the wholesale market. Thanks to Grandpa, when he was alive, he forced me to start from the bottom. My first stop was logistics, so I got my heavy truck driver's license in my senior year of college. In the apocalypse, you have to guard against people. Hiring a driver is like adding a ticking time bomb. Mom sent a message saying the construction teams are already withdrawing. I replied, got it. I estimated I'd be home tomorrow afternoon. Let them take their time leaving. We are not in a rush. We still have plenty of time. The anxious ones are my dad and his family, like headless flies, searching for our traces. They asked all our relatives and friends, but no one knew. He got desperate and even started looking through my yearbook, calling my old classmates one by one. I directly posted on my WeChat moments. My parents are getting a divorce. I'm staying with my mom. If my dad harasses you, please block him. Anyone who wants to play peacemaker, save it. Those who want to watch the drama, grab some popcorn and keep an eye on my moments. The wholesale market boss finally had time for me. I consolidated the supply lists and handed it to the boss. Load everything on this list for me. Are you opening a shop? The boss saw I was a new face and asked out of curiosity. I smiled and nodded. Yes, a grocery store in the countryside. I need a bit of everything. Understood. The boss went to get people to load the goods. I went to the largest local pharmaceutical supplier. Luckily, I run a company myself, so I have some connections. Any required certificates or documents, I had someone sort them out 2 days ago. I just needed to hand over the list. Past 6 p.m. My mom came to find me. We certainly weren't in a rush to go back. The apocalypse is coming soon. At a time like this, we naturally had to go to a 5-star hotel for a feast, then go shopping at the mall, and return to the hotel for a good sleep. Tomorrow morning we'll drive back. Mom came to me. For this exact reason, we must enjoy ourselves. At the hotel, Mom ordered Australian lobster. I ordered king crab. Mom ordered Buddha jumps over the wall. I ordered truffles. The main theme was expensive. On the go. Ask me, Mom said freely. to not waste this chance of rebirth. We were even more unrestrained at the mall. Mom strutted through the boutiques. I don't want this one, or that one. Wrap up the rest. Wait, Mom. Calm down, be rational. I held her back. We can't be this impulsive. What if after these months of extreme heat, how will we survive the days after? Fortunately, Mom listened to advice and cut her purchases. We returned to the hotel with bags of all sizes. Lying on the soft beds, feeling a sense of relief after surviving a disaster. This time, we won't die in the apocalypse. Countdown to extreme heat. Day 9. I backed the truck into the courtyard, as close to the door as possible. Then we started unloading. The electric trolleys my mom specifically bought came in very handy. She caught them below, and I unloaded them from the truck. This made the process much faster. Placed on the outside was smokeless charcoal. A full 50 boxes. Used for BBQ. After all, my favorite food is all kinds of skewers. So smokeless charcoal is a must. With the electric trolley, Mom stacked them box by box, moving 10 boxes at a time. Putting them in the utility room on the first floor. Shelves had already been set up there. As for the charcoal, it just needed innermost spot to avoid moisture. It won't go bad anyway. Mom had someone convert the cellar into cold storage. Cereal, rice, noodles, oil, and foods that can be stored at room temp were directly stacked in the second floor storage room. The walls there are not only made of insulation materials, but also equipped with liquid cooling plates combined with the air conditioner. Even if the central AC fails later, it can keep the room at around 28 degrees. Mom and I unloaded from 2 p.m. to past 6 p.m. and only finished half. We were completely exhausted. We went inside to eat dinner. We took out a pizza we just bought, popped it in the microwave, and opened 2 bottles of cola. It was pure bliss. Meme, don't you think this house is missing something? Mom leaned back on the sofa, letting me serve her food and drinks. Then she slapped her forehead. We're missing a home theater. I was genuinely amazed. But she was right. How could we stay home without watching dramas and singing karaoke? Tomorrow, after unloading, we'll go to the city and wild out again. When we come back the day after, let's buy a home theater. How about that? Oh. We also need to check what else we missed. We reviewed today's supply list. The common items were mostly ready. Daily necessities, sanitary pads, etc. were all sorted out. We still need vegetable seeds and fertilizer. And we haven't bought the fish fry yet. Add them all to the schedule. Don't forget, Mime. If we are growing vegetables indoors, we have to buy grow lights. Otherwise, the vegetables will turn yellow and won't grow. Mom is experienced. We absolutely must buy that. We also need to buy fruits. We have the wine cellar. If we put fruits in there, they'll last a long time. Like lemons, apples, and so on. When we come back the day after, we have to visit the fruit market to get some. Mom, are you sure our solar panels won't burst in the sun? I specifically searched online. Solar panels reduce power generation above 50 degrees. If it gets hotter, it will damage the circuits. I asked the boss. He said this advanced material can withstand hundreds of degrees. Even if the temp reaches 100 degrees, the solar panels won't break. But I was afraid he was tricking me. So I didn't just put them on the roof. Under those fruit trees outside, I laid out solar panels too. If the ones on the roof melt, the ones under the trees should still work. Also, our battery room on the 3rd floor has a massive storage capacity. I asked the technician, when fully charged. Just running the AC is enough to last us half a year. Not to mention we won't run whole house AC then. We will just hide in the wine cellar. As long as we maintain a normal temperature, it'll easily last a year or so. I have another question. The battery room is on the 3rd floor. Isn't it prone to overheating and exploding? No stress. This house doesn't have a basement. But I had them install the best insulation and liquid cooling plates, the technician said. Even if the outside turns into an oven, there won't be any issues here. I've checked it. Those liquid cooling materials are indeed good. Even though the central AC is on, it's noticeably cooler there by a few degrees. So, it should be fine. That night, neither of us really slept. Closing our eyes brought back terrifying scenes of burning alive. So Mom and I played video games all night. My dad's family was still searching for us frantically. But besides me and my mom, nobody knows about this land we bought. Early next morning, I received a voice message from a friend. Your dad came to our dance group, asking everyone if they knew where your mom went. Mom logged. I couldn't tell if it was out of anger or what. Her tone was mocking, yet carried a hint of loneliness. Your dad has never looked for me before. Now, he finally comes looking for me, and it's to kill me to keep me quiet. Mom, don't be sad. Heaven will punish them soon. I believe with how selfish that family is. When food runs out, they will definitely turn on each other. We just need to grab some popcorn and watch the show. Countdown to extreme heat. Day 6. We finally finished at nearly noon, stacking the last batch of goods into the storage room. I was so exhausted I couldn't stand straight. Mom was lying motionless on the sofa. I added a massage chair to the shopping list. We'll bring it back tomorrow. After unloading, getting a massage, that would be heavenly. After lunch, we set off to buy goods. Mom sat in the passenger seat, chatting casually with me. She talked about when my dad was pursuing her. He was completely devoted to her, promising to treat her well for a lifetime. She was very moved, thinking marrying him would bring happiness. Grandpa was against it. He said marriages need to be of equal social status to last. But he couldn't convince Mom. So, he could only agree to their marriage. But Grandpa kept an ace up his sleeve. He forced my dad to sign a prenuptial agreement and dragged Mom to make a will. specifying me as the heir to their property. Grandpa thought, since I'm my dad's biological daughter, putting the assets in my hands would be the safest. But he didn't calculate that my dad was more venomous than a tiger. He wouldn't even spare me. Hang. The private investigator messaged me. That mistress your dad is keeping has had a secret lover outside for a long time. I immediately pulled the car over. Mom leaned in. What's wrong? My dad got cuckolded. I replied to Mom while texting the investigator. Send me the video. In a corner of the park, the mistress and a man were hugging. This is a public park, I watched with keen interest. Suddenly, a thought struck me. Could that boy not even be my dad's seed? At the moment, I felt like a badger in a melon field, wanting to take a bite out of every piece of gossip. The investigator was very dedicated without me even asking. He said, I have already sent the child's and your father's DNA samples for a paternity test. We should know tomorrow if that child is actually your father's biological son. I transferred 50,000 yuan to him and reminded him. The weather has been weird lately. Stock up on food. That's all I can say. My mom had already notified the relevant authorities before. They said they would report it upward and warned us not to spread rumors to avoid causing a panic. So far, there hasn't been much movement. But I believe the government can't be completely unprepared for this. So the immediate priority is for us to protect ourselves first. I first went to the appliance store. The massage chair and the home theater equipment were all arranged. Then to the wholesale market. Another long shopping list. This time it was mostly secondary food items, potato chips, biscuits, and all kinds of nuts. Buying them by the boxes. Then Mom and I headed straight to the slaughterhouse. Ordered 10 pigs, 10 sheep, and 10 cows. We'll pick up the goods tomorrow morning. After loading, we will head straight home. Then we just need to move them into the cold storage. After finishing all this, it was already past 8 p.m. Mom and I were starving. Back to that super 5-star hotel. We ordered a massive imperial banquet the next morning. The paternity test report arrived precisely on my phone. Excludes Malbufen as the biological father of the male child. Mom and I were sitting by the window in the hotel restaurant, looking at that line of text. First, there was silence, then we simultaneously burst out laughing. Laughing and laughing. Mom's tears started falling. But it wasn't out of sadness, it was a complete release. In this life, I was truly blind. Her tone was as light as a cloud. To feed a piece of trash like that, and cost me and my daughter our lives. We didn't delay any further, and headed straight to the slaughterhouse. The pork, beef, and mutton had been butchered and sealed tightly in vacuum packaging. The refrigerated truck followed our truck all the way to the mountaintop orchard. The cold storage was stuffed full. The fish fry were released into the climate-controlled pond on the first floor. The vegetable seeds were scattered in the planting area under the grow lights. On the 3-meter-high wall, the electric grid was powered on 20 for hours a day. High-definition security cameras monitored the orchard without any blind spots. Countdown to the extreme heat. Only the last 3 days remained. First came 3 consecutive days of red high temperature warnings. Temperatures soared past 45 degrees. The city's water and electricity supplies became intermittent. Drinking water and convenience foods in supermarkets were snatched up completely. The streets were filled with hysterical people. Mao Bufan finally panicked. He had spent his whole life living off the allowance my mom gave him. He never saved any money, let alone pre-stocked supplies. They didn't even have a single bottle of purified water at home. The mistress, Liu Ryan, fought with him every day. Grandma and Grandpa sat in the living room, cursing him for not being able to control a woman. He didn't get the family fortune, and now they couldn't even get a full meal. The temperature kept rising insanely. 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 70 degrees. The entire city turned into a giant steamer. Mao Bufan, taking his whole family, finally remembered the villa at the summer resort. He drove the car my mom bought for him, but was met by the villa's new owner holding the property deed, and chased out by a group of relatives. Then they drove around the mountains in circles. When the gas ran out, he led his family hiking up the mountain. Their skin peeled from the sun, their feet covered in blisters. They finally saw the high walled, electrified orchard at the peak, but they couldn't find the entrance. I had already camouflaged the entrance to match the walls. It required a remote control to open. On the monitor, they were panicking and turning red. That day, the outdoor temperature had reached 60 degrees. Mom and I were sitting in our 24-degree climate-controlled living room, each eating a popsicle, watching their pathetic display on the monitor. We didn't even have the interest to stand up. I know you're inside. Come out. His voice was as hoarse as sandpaper. I am your husband. Open the door. If you don't open the door, we'll die from the heat out here. As soon as he finished speaking, Grandma's mean face pressed against the camera. You ungrateful wretch. You're hiding inside, enjoying yourselves, watching us suffer out here. Open the door right now. Bring out all your food and water, or else we'll smash this broken wall and drag you both out. Mom picked up the walkie-talkie on the table and pressed the button. Her voice was calm, without a trace of emotion. Emma Buffon. The prenuptial agreement states it clearly. All my assets are premarital property. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Back your parents, your wild woman, and your bastard child, and crawl away. Don't be shameless. Grandma instantly exploded. You married into our Mao family. Your things belong to our Mao family. You barren hen, who only birthed a girl. It's a blessing our Mao family didn't cast you out. And now you dare to hog all the wealth. I let out a mocking laugh. I used a drone to carry the printed paternity test report and dropped it outside the gate. Take a look at this first. The precious grandson you've doted on for 8 years. Doesn't have a single drop of Mao Bufen's blood. You worked hard half your life, raising a son for another man. Your Mao family is truly so successful. Outside the wall, it was instantly dead silent. Seconds later, came Mao Bufen's heart-wrenching roar. Liu Ryan, what the hell is this? Liu Ryan's face instantly turned as pale as paper. Holding the child, she kept backing away, her voice trembling uncontrollably. Buffon. Listen to me, explain. This report is fake. They forged it. They just want to drive a wedge between us. I pressed a button. The drone lowered a flexible screen, projecting the video of her hugging her secret lover in the park. You've even found a backup lover. And you're still acting here. You stayed with Mao Bufen. Just for my mom's money, right? Now that the money is gone, why are you still with him? Do you like that he's old? Or that he doesn't shower? Dad lunged at Liu Ryan with bloodshot eyes. You lied to me for 8 years. I spent so much money on you. And you dared to cuckold me. Grandma and Grandpa went crazy too. They spent their whole lives calculating, just hoping for a male heir to carry on the family name. The 4 of them tangled together on the scorching ground. The child sat on the ground, crying loudly. Nobody paid him any mind. Mom turned off the volume on the walkie-talkie. She turned her head and stopped looking at the monitor. She had stopped hating them a long time ago. Looking at these people, she only felt they were incredibly pathetic. True karma and ridiculous arrived at dusk. Grandma, Huitredeye, actually pulled a bottle of gasoline out of her cloth bag. I'll make you hide. I'll make you enjoy yourselves. Hoard. Unscrewing the cap and splashing it at the wall. I'll burn this place down. Nobody gets to live a good life. But she forgot. Right now, it's over 70 degrees outside. Before the gasoline even touched the wall, it was instantly ignited by the scorching hot air. The flames engulfed her entirely. Grandpa instinctively rushed forward to pull her, and was also swallowed by the flames. Their miserable screams only lasted for a few dozen seconds, before all signs of life vanished. Mao Bufen collapsed on the ground in terror. Taking advantage of the chaos, Liu Ryan grabbed the child and ran down the mountain. Seeing this, my dad immediately chased after them, but they hadn't run more than a few dozen meters before bumping into her lover, who had been following them. That man had been eyeing the supplies in our orchard, waiting to reap the benefits. The 2 men turned hostile after just a few words. They fought each other. Eventually, they all collapsed on the scorching mountain road and never got back up. We hid in a safe place, watching them tear each other apart, a mouthful of fur finally biting themselves to death. They went B. At its highest, the temperature hit 90 degrees. The outside world completely collapsed. Occasionally, some blind survivors tried to break into our orchard. They were directly knocked out by the high-voltage electric grid by the time they woke up. They couldn't withstand the extreme heat outside, and sensibly left. 2 months later, the extreme heat ended. On night Mom and I were sitting on the terrace. Meme. Mom used to always think that a woman in this life must have a home, must have a man to rely on. Now I finally understand. The best home is just being with you. Being safe and sound. That's better than anything else. I leaned into her embrace, looked up at the starry sky, and smiled. Those who only ever thought of harming us ultimately perished in the flames they started themselves.